Midoriya versus Todoroki. Holy shit! Today's episode of My Hero Academia is without a doubt the best piece of anime that I have seen in 2017 thus far. It absolutely rocked my jollies. I swear to God, if Guy and Rock Lee from Naruto actually watched this episode, they would somehow conceive the most manly child you've ever seen. This episode blew my frigging mind from beginning to end. Not only was the action completely solid, but it also featured some of the best characterization I have seen for Izuku and Shoto. Not to mention, it broke conventions by giving us an ending that I don't think a lot of people saw coming. Let me make one thing painfully clear. I am riding the high of this week's episode. I literally just got done watching it, and honestly, I don't care. This episode was freaking amazing. It was the anime equivalent of a dude walking away from an explosion and not looking behind him. It was just perfect from beginning to end. So let's just go ahead and dive into the creamy center that is this week's episode of My Hero Academia. So, Izuku versus Shoto. Does it live up to the hype? Hell freaking yes. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it right now. The animation, the artwork, the choreography in this week's episode, pitch freaking perfect. From beginning to end, it was great. But what I especially loved about this battle had to be Izuku's motivations during all of it. Not only did he just want to win this battle and move on to become the #1 hero, but simultaneously, he wanted to save Shoto from his inner darkness. That's a true fucking hero, ladies and gentlemen, and he literally risks life and limb in order to make this happen, even going as far as allowing Shoto to draw on his inner power and utilize both ice and fire. That's right! Both of them in this week's episode. Hilariously enough, the actual battle in this week's episode is really simple. It mostly just consists of watching Shoto fire these giant blasts of ice at Izuku, who manages to constantly send them back exploding with his special abilities. At first, he's just flicking them away, completely wrecking his hands in the process, even going as far as to reusing it twice, completely just destroying them to the point where they might not even be able to be repaired. Basically turning his right hand useless, he has to move on to the left. That's when we're finally treated to the proper backstory of Shoto Todoroki, which manages to be even more tragic in this episode. So we already know that it was his mother who burned his face, but we never really knew why all of this went down. What's most disturbing about Shoto's mother actually burning her son is that she does it out of hatred. She actually starts to lose all stability of her marriage and being a mother when she's constantly beaten right in front of her son by Endeavor. That's right, he has to witness all of this firsthand. Despite that, even after his mother claims on the phone that she can't stand raising him anymore, and even going as far as to basically pour boiling water on his face, he still manages to love her even more than his father. Of course, he doesn't want to use the fire powers because that's what his father uses, but really the main reason he doesn't use them is because he doesn't want to turn into his father in the first place, who's kind of a woman-beating jackass. But it isn't until Izuku decides that he has to make his power his own, he brings it out of him, and boom, that's when the episode just frickin' rocks your balls off. So all of the battle scenes in the first half of the episode are intense as shit, and I cannot deny that enough, especially when Izuku finally starts to learn to control his power, and even starts to hit Shoto a couple of times with some super powered punches. But it's that final scene which really takes the cake in this week's episode, where they both charge at each other 100%. It's so ridiculous that Cementoss and Midnight decide that they're going to have to actually intervene in this battle, otherwise not only could they possibly kill each other, they could cause a lot of raw destruction just around them. And you have Izuku who just charges at him, fully powering up his arm, and then you have Shoto who's using the power of fire and ice. And the way this scene is executed is fantastic. Just getting to see Shoto's arm lift up, raise back, suddenly all the fire and ice combine and create this giant vortex of pure raw nature destruction. And right as they're about to collide with one another, you get to see that all of these giant cement blocks come up by Cementoss, they crash into them, they suddenly turn into this giant freaking orgy of rock cubes which just fly all over the friggin' place. And then you wait for the classic moment. The moments in Dragon Ball Z when you're waiting for, like, the smoke to settle to see who is going to be the victor, who is going to be the one who is standing to be #1. And if this were any other series, Izuku, without a doubt, would have won this battle. But guess what? He is outside of the ring, and Shoto is the one standing. That's right, the main character of the series lost in a tournament arc. Hell, he lost in the middle of the tournament arc. We're still not done yet. This is awesome. I love this. I absolutely love that they decided to break convention. Izuku could have slowly transformed into the chosen one main character, but no, he lost. And that's because Shoto had much more control of his power, and I'm sure that's something that's definitely going to piss him off. The fact that he had to use fire, the fact that he had to combine it with all of his abilities, and yet the only thing he could actually do was get Izuku Midoriya out of the ring. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of My Hero Academia? I freaking loved it! I loved this episode. It was great. From beginning to end. So well paced, so well choreographed, great character moments from pretty much everyone. Not one character dominated over the other in terms of this week's episode, and that made you get really attached to both of these guys. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Izuku Midoriya is turning into what I think is one of the greatest main characters that I have ever seen. He's the exact epitome of everything it means to actually be a hero, and you really get to see that on show in this week's episode. He could have just gone a 100% and just completely destroyed Todoroki, but he spent the entire duration of the fight trying to control his power while also trying to draw out his, and making me realize that even though he has to use those fire abilities, it's not because of his father, and it's not because he's doing it because of his father. It's because he makes it his own. Because Shoto himself, very much like Izuku, just wants to be the greatest hero ever. He wants to be the coolest hero ever. They're very similar. They just come from very different parental backgrounds. And Todoroki's is just messed up. That entire scene with his mother talking on the phone to his grandma and mentioning that she's just sort of losing her mind because every single time she sees her son, she sees Endeavor, the man that's supposed to be her husband, the man that constantly beats her, is just disturbing. And most importantly, it's realistic. This is not something that is out of the realm of possibility. This is something that happens every single day, and it's something that, unfortunately, a lot of viewers who watch the show are going to be able to actually have a connection with. And that's going to allow you to appreciate the character of Shoto Todoroki even more. Not to mention, this week's episode was just done with some gusto. That final scene was so well executed in its animation, the explosiveness, just the fluidity. I love the sketchy styled animation. This is an episode that fully established that My Hero Academia is here to do something different, and it's going to be very loud and proud about it. And that's something to get excited for. If you're looking for a new action anime to fill that void, check out My Hero Academia. It's gonna blow your damn mind, because not only is the action scenes just amazing and damn near Hollywood caliber, hell, I think they go above and beyond it at times, it's got some of the best characters, and every character's awesome. That's probably the best thing about this series. And I'm most interested to see how the rest of this tournament is going to go. I mean, there's still a lot of possibility here. I'm really excited for the next fights which are going to be coming up. Like, I cannot wait to see Eijiro going up against Katsuki Bakugo. That is going to be great. I have a feeling we might end up getting one hell of a finale for this arc, and something that not a lot of people are expecting. I'd like to see Katsuki versus Shoto, just to see these two characters going up against one another, and to see Katsuki push to, like, this brand new level. And if there's someone that's going to do it, it's going to be Shoto Todoroki. But maybe Eijiro might actually surprise us, and surprisingly defeat him as well. If there's one thing that this episode proved, it's that it's not afraid to take chances and surprise the viewer. And I think that's what could possibly happen. I'm just pumped to see what else the series is going to give us. This one was perfect. It's a 5 out of 5. Amazing episode, and the perfect example of why anime is such a popular genre in the first place. It gets my absolute highest recommendation, and if I could give, like, a Badass of the Year award, it would be to these two guys right here. Like, they fucking knocked it out of the park. Check it out, guys. I love this episode. You need to check it out. But most importantly, if any of you did watch the episode, make sure to tell me what you thought about it. in the comment section below. Did the battle between Izuku and Shoto live up to the hype? Did you have a favorite scene from this episode? Did anything freaking inspire you from this one right here? Are you falling in love with this series like I am? What do you want to see from the rest of this very surprising tournament? And make sure to give me your predictions on how you think this tournament is going to end. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things My Hero Academia anime related. If I continue to fall in love with a series like this, I might have to start looking at the manga version. Again, if you liked this video, please give me a comment. If you have any questions for me, if there's anything you want to talk about, I would love to talk about this week's episode with you guys. And of course, if you liked this video, one of the best ways to help us out is to give me a big superhero punch down to the like button. I would really appreciate it. But if you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, Prasa Ultra!